it was still very, very dangerous for a lot of people to talk about this. Even today, that happens. Even today, when we meet with people and they've seen something, would you want to go public? I can tell, I can even interview. They're like, I'm not too sure, not because they were lying, because they're afraid that their entire their friend circle, their family is going to alienate them, ironically, because they saw something. This also, one of the biggest cases that I certainly didn't investigate, but was kind of involved in with one of the witnesses was the Ariel school, the Zimbabwe case in Africa with the kids. Randall Nickerson. So, Randall, who's now a very good friend of mine, who I highly recommend everybody goes and checks out his movie Ariel Phenomenon, Ariel Phenomenon. It was a school called Ariel School in Africa. And all these kids saw something which I guarantee was real, because
that was more than the kids. That was the teachers. A lot of people lost their minds after.
Absolutely.
And actual creatures. Absolutely.
They communicated with the beings that came out of the craft. And I became very close with one of the kids that she eventually became an adult. Her name was Emily. She passed away last year, so she was a very good friend of mine. Spent 10 years with Emily and became friends with Liesel, who was also a witness, and other witnesses. I won't mention all their names because I don't know if they like this information to come out, but one of them in particular had massive marital problems because she had never told her husband that this had happened to her when she was a little girl. And after she was married, they were trying to get her interviewed for Netflix and all that stuff because she was a witness. And she eventually had to tell her husband, I'm going to be interviewed because this happened to me. And I think they ended up getting divorced because he was so against the idea of having that part of the relationship or having friends know that. So even today, this is a big taboo subject. And it's the biggest, to me, I find it's the biggest hypocrisy in the world, especially when you consider the amount of evidence that points to this phenomenon being 100% real.
The Zimbabwe? Yeah.
No, in general. In general. Zimbabwe, 100% in my opinion, but the topic is so real that if you have all these people all over the world saying this and there's still a little bit of stigma, I find that a lot of hypocrisy is associated to it, because it's like, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. This is real stuff. This is really happening. We just don't have the 4K picture that you want, but we also don't have the 4K picture of most rapists.
Yeah.
In the process of raping. You know what I mean? So,
well, let me tell you something right now. If you look back on this podcast when Poseidon was on, just take a screenshot. You got yourself at least a 2K photo of him.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He had a good rape joke once.
But you have to have a fucking good sense of humor. But it's a reality, though.
But that's actually well said. Yeah, you don't have, but you got to take it serious.
Yeah, you have to take it serious. If somebody tells you got raped, what are you gonna do? Where's the picture? Well, you don't have evidence.
By the way, they used to do that, and people used to kill themselves because of that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So there's people that have killed themselves because of alien abductions.
I heard, that no one in the families believed them.
Then
they start believing. Am I crazy?
Yeah. In fact, they want to be diagnosed. A lot of the people that got abducted.
A couple of our mutual acquaintances have told us that they've been abducted.